Hello and welcome to Living Word Christian Center. We're very glad to have you today. I hope you feel welcome and God speaks a word to you today. Now, before we continue with the message, we have a few announcements we'd like to share with you.
Living Word Chino Hills will be hosting Men of Action taking place September 28th. Men, you do not want to miss out on this awesome discipleship.
Please join us for our regular services every Sunday at 9 and 11 in the morning and our midweek service Thursday nights at 7:30 p.m. It's an awesome time where we come together, we worship God, and we receive a wonderful message from Him. So please invite a friend, come on out to these services.
Come for our prayer gatherings that takes place every Monday at 7 p.m. Come and pray with the Living Word congregation as we lift up our nation, our families, and our friends and our churches.
Every Friday night at 8 p.m. we have our youth nights, a live youth ministry. It is awesome. We just recently had our youth conference. The youth are fired up. Even us old people are fired up. And it's just awesome. So please, if you know any junior high or high schoolers, invite them out to this. It's such a great time. The youth are doing the worship. They're there and they're just loving God every moment of it. So please invite someone for our youth nights.
Well, we hope that you guys enjoyed today's service. Remember, if you need more information, join us in the Resource Center, or you can log on to our website, Lwcc BP.com. Now, to continue with the month of Jubilee, we will have testimonies every week. Today's testimony is from Rick Dominguez.
This is the month of Jubilee. And the time of Jubilee was when all debts were forgiven. They were wiped away, slate was clean, start new fresh. And in our lives, we have something called spiritual debt. And in my life in particular, I had a lot of it. Growing up, I grew up in the church, from being like 2 weeks old to today. Always been in the church. And I've heard once that the best testimony is that you've been following God and you're living for Him and you do everything according to Christ. And I wish that could have been my testimony. But being on the inside of the church and the covering of God, there's times where you do look out and you see what the world has to offer. And there were times where it enticed me, intrigued me. I wanted what the world had. And so there was times I went and got it. And growing up in school, junior high, high school, I made it known I was a Christian. People knew I went to church, but I didn't live my life like Christ. I started allowing myself to be influenced with my worldly friends by cussing, which, maybe some of you don't feel that's anything, but for me it was not taking control of my actions and what I say. Then there was what I joked about and the way we treated one another. There was even times where I lied just to be fit in with the rest of the guys so they think I was something else. And just all those little lies tend to build up, all these little sins just tend to build up, and you just have this debt. And then the biggest thing is just things in my mind. And like Jesus said, if you thought it, you've already committed it. And there's so many times I've done so many things in my mind, and I think it stays there. But eventually, those things go from the mind out, and that's where I was. And I just had to come to Christ, realize I'm not living the life that He's called me to live. And you get that conviction and it holds on top of you. And if you allow it to be condemnation, it just tears you apart. And it's like being with money. If you're in debt with money, it just piles up and piles up. And if you get credit cards and you try to cover it up your way, it just overwhelms you. And it's the same thing with your spiritual life. I was just overwhelmed by everything that I just let stay inside. And then God just pretty much told me, give it to me, you're going to be wiped clean. And when I've done that, my life's been changed. I feel free. I have something to look forward to. I get excited. I can worship in spirit and in truth. And it's just amazing what God's done when you've decided, look, this is all that I have, I give it to you, and He wipes it clean. When you ask for that forgiveness of everything you've done, He wipes it completely clean. And am I perfect? No. Do I still get some of those trips? They come. But I know that God, if I can say, He's the jubilator, and He will wipe everything clean. So praise to God. Enjoy this time of your Jubilee.
Let's go,